time for the bell. How many options will you sell? Fire up your platform, get ready to enter. But first, let's get the mindset centered. Hey, let's go. We're not here to gamble, we're here to trade. We follow the plan, that's how we get paid. Testing, trading, have success. Find what works for you and forget the rest. Stats and probabilities is what we're about. Time to dismiss greed and doubt. Focus on the process, not the money. And the profits will flow like honey. Power Hour Live, let's start the show. Come on, trade hackers, get ready to go. 0-day options, time to make bank. Get locked and loaded, then be ready to plank. Hey!
Hey everyone, welcome to Power Hour Live on Cinco de Mayo, May 5th. S&P is down 16, NASDAQ is down 56, Russell is down 5, and Dow is up 44. Gold is up almost 3%, silver is up 1%. Notes and bonds are both a little bit red. 10-year yield up about 0.33%. Oil's down 2%. Natural gas down 1.5%. Soybeans, wheat, and corn all finished pretty red. Soybeans down 1%, wheat down 2%, and corn down 3%. Euro and the pound both up minimal. Bitcoin down about 2.25%. VIX is still a little bit elevated from Friday's close, currently at 23.06. As far as trading for me, pretty light day of trading. I was away from my computer, away from my office in the midday. I forgot to schedule my BICs for the first tranches, which, looking at the price action, may have gotten lucky and missed out on a double stop or two. But currently I've had 4 one-sided stops. I've still got 2 tranches that are open, available for potential pins. So total 6 tranches. So really just did 1 less than I normally do. So those are looking good so far, as long as you don't do anything crazy. Didn't do any price action iron condors or Elmos, which took a glance in Chad's channel. It looked like you guys had probably your best day of the year, or close to it for a lot of you. So I missed out. I didn't take any of those. I did do some day trading, and that was part of the other thing. I was just kind of focused on that. It's hard to do both. I've tried many times, but prefer to do one or the other. As far as day trades go, I've still got some puts in Goldman Sachs, up 890 on that one. Took a $1,000 loser on a downside volume runner this morning in Hood. Booked a $2,100 winner in Microsoft, $1,100 loser in MSTR, $170 winner in NVIDIA, and a $2,400 winner in Tesla. So up about $3,400 there. SPX, I did my 1 DTE that I posted. I transformed it into an upside vertical. Whoa, excuse me. Transformed it into an upside vertical. Just did a 2-lot, 170 minimum profit, 1170 max profit if it expires tomorrow above 56.95. I don't have anything on. You know, the premiums are pretty low. Let's see, SPX. Yeah, I mean, you'd be looking at 5. Maybe 10 wide if you wanted to get some lower credit on an iron condor right now. So I'm gonna just kind of roll with what I've got, and we can spend some time here talking about any topic you all want. Anybody new? Any questions? Any topics you guys want to cover? Anything is fair game. Chad is not with us today. He said he had an appointment, but I think he looked outside and saw how nice it was. I don't know. And I think he looks like he did pretty well. I think he said low premiums, nice sunshine outside. I have an appointment I forgot about. So the indices have kind of started rolling over. S&P almost got green. NASDAQ got green for a minute. Russell, same thing, just ticked green territory and really rolled over. Bitcoin has been acting strong since about 11 a.m. Still down 2%, but well off of its lows. As far as other individual stocks go, the biggest green on my board are Delta Airlines up 3%, AMD up 2.5%, Uber's up 1.5%. The banks were strong. They started rolling over a little bit. Meta is a little green. And then on the red side, Berkshire on the news that Mr. Buffett is retiring, down 5%, but well off of its lows. Did it have earnings as well? I guess it did, or there's something. There's a little blue light bulb on TOS, but it doesn't say, so I'm not sure. Anyway, other red stocks: Apple's down 2.5%, Tesla is down 1.5%, MSTR's down 1%. Strongest sectors: metals. Regional banks are up a little bit. Crypto's the weakest. Kind of a mixed bag today. Cosmo, did you change the entry times for the BIX since start? So I have my scheduled times, Cosmo. I'll put it on my screen here. So my normally scheduled BIC times are, and these are all central, 8:45, 9:15, 9:45 are my AM tranches, and then 12:25, 12:55, 1:10, 1:43. So I don't know if you jumped on here a little bit late, but I was saying I forgot to initiate my TAT this morning, so I missed out on the first couple tranches. So I did one at 10:14. It ended up being, I did that basically on a discretionary basis, and the 11:35 because price looked fairly stable, and then my regularly scheduled 12:25, 12:55, 1:10, 1:43 kicked in once I had my TAT turned on. But so usually, I usually just stick to those scheduled times, and then every once in a while I will add in another discretionary tranche or two. But for the most part, I just stick to those times. Haven't really changed those from the start. Damien, quick question on Elmos for today. At some point I've seen that Dr. Chad had closed 4 Elmos, so it was very quick. Do you wait to close one before putting on a new one? So everybody does it a little bit different. For me, I'm okay putting on multiple if price is still staying in a pretty tight range. And the way that I look at it is, so if you notice my trades when I'm entering those, I do them in 5 lots. And so I'm kind of looking at it, a 10 lot as kind of my full size position. And so I'm just scaling in and out with 5 lots. So I may have 2 on at the same time. So I'll put one on, and if one gets to, halfway to the profit target, I may put on another. Or if one gets a little bit off centered, I may put on another. So just on a discretionary basis, if price is still consolidating, I'm just kind of rotating, scaling those in and out. And personally, I just kind of keep my max on at any one time to 10 lots. Django on the 1 DTE, why the upside vertical? I just have a bullish bias over the next day or so. Just kind of looking at the daily chart. Looked like we retraced Friday's bar and looked like we were going to kind of scale back up to the top and possibly beyond. We have not done that. We kind of are starting to fizzle out, but that was kind of nothing really more than that. Let's see, Watson, what was your GS trade? Yeah, so what I was looking at on GS was, so here are the 3 the three big banks. I've got JP Morgan, Goldman, and Bank of America. Just looking at their 5-minute charts, and Goldman, obviously the weakest of the three, it never really got green on the day, and it tried multiple times. And so what I was looking at, I was just, IWM, Russell, is made up of a lot of financials. Now it's really more regional banks, smaller banks, but the Russell started really rolling over before the S&P or the NASDAQ. And so I was looking at the banks, looking at that, and Goldman was the weakest. And so when it started to come down to the bottom of this consolidation area, I waited for a little bounce and got short because I thought it was going to continue lower, which it did. So that was my Goldman trade. Trader Dan, welcome Trader Dan, new to NT. Just learned the Mahomes trade last week. Looks very interesting. How often does this trade actually set up? So it sets up almost every day. When volatility and the options are priced extremely high, especially on the way up, when volatility is in the process of expanding, then sometimes you can't get filled at $2 by the end of the day, but otherwise it will set up most days. And then you'll have days like FOMC where sometimes you won't be able to get filled because the options are too juiced. But for the most part, it'll set up every day. Also, as a way to increase probability of profit, could you increase the buy for the verticals from a? Yeah. I think I talk about that in the course a little bit too. The dollar, if you're buying the vertical for a debit. The dollar is just kind of an arbitrary number that I've used. So if you wanted to increase it, of course, you're going to decrease your profit potential, but you would get filled quicker on that vertical for sure. With the dollar, to basically what has to happen is typically depending on how much time's left, typically if price moves 5 points away from your strike of your middle strike of your butterfly, then you will get filled on that vertical to lock in profits to remove the risk. And so then if you do $1.50, then it's not even going to take a 5-point move. It might take a 3.5-point move to get there. So yeah, you lock in quicker, but you have less profit potential. Leo, how to handle when everyone around have a decent profit and you have just a little. For some reason, it feels like not a winning day. Yeah, man, you've got to separate what other traders are doing compared to yourself. I took 0 Elmo, 0 price action iron condors. So think about that. I have 0 of the profits, and it looks like a bunch of people had, multiple $1,000 days. But did I look at that and be like, oh man, they did so well, and I didn't. I mean, yeah, sure. I wish I would have focused more on that because it looks like a pretty opportune day, but I intentionally didn't because I was focusing on the day trading. By the way, part of what I've kind of gone light on some of the 0 DTE stuff lately and focused on the day trading is, I can't really post my day trades because there's a lot of scaling in, scaling out. It's just too much. I'm just not able to do it. So part of what I'm doing is I'm trying to figure out how I can scale down the number of transactions on my day trades to be able to post those to get you all involved, because I think it's really important because it can be extremely lucrative, and B, I think it would just, even if you're a delta neutral trader, being able to read price action from a directional standpoint, I think is a big thing. So I'm trying to figure out how I can get it to a point where I can get you all involved and share more of what I'm doing in the moment, as opposed to just kind of sharing videos or, after the fact, kind of what I've done. Because I think, I did that a few months ago. I did that updated lesson in the runner's course, which is basically the whole basis of what I'm doing on my directional day trades, but I don't feel like I'm either I haven't articulated the basis of it well enough, or it's just not duplicatable or something. I'm trying to figure out how I can make sure that you guys are getting the value out of that more. So anyway, that's just kind of a side note of what I've been working on the side here, and part of why I've not only been a little bit light on the zero DTE stuff and more focused on this, but so it's not just the trades, but it's also trying to outline kind of how I can help you all benefit from it as well. Par for the course. Damien, if you put on multiple Elmos, don't you have overlay of the same strikes? Yeah, sometimes. But that's why I say kind of I look at a full position size as 10 lots, but I'm just entering in 5 lots. Right? So I'm just scaling in 2. So I don't care if there's an overlap in strikes, because I'm kind of scaling into one position, if that makes sense. Jonathan W. Oh, does PLTR have earnings? Let's see what else we got here. PLTR has been on a little run today. It's almost at all-time highs. I've been watching that. I was actually trying to get into that a couple times long for day trades. Let's see here. Let me pull up my earnings report thing. My earnings whispers. All right, so we got Palantir after the market today. Also HIMS. HIMS is tradable, last I checked. Before the open, Celsius. Not the greatest options to trade, but I am currently enjoying a raspberry acai green tea Celsius for Power Hour. AMD and SMCI after the market tomorrow. Before the market opens Wednesday, Uber and Disney. After the close Wednesday, APP, AppLovin, and DoorDash. Shopify before the market opens on Thursday. Coinbase after the market on Thursday. Also DKNG and Affirm. Yeah, so lots of fun this week. I'll take a look at PLTR and HIMS today. I'd definitely be bullish on PLTR. And I haven't looked at HIMS. So I'll do that here in a minute. Let me get through a couple other questions here. Damien, the Mahomes strategy is a transformer strategy, so it's part of the transformer course. JR, we usually don't leave one DTE for the next day due to the big risk of gaps, so could have a bigger loss. Yeah, so Django, I don't know if that was part of your question, but yeah, I don't hold one DTEs overnight, so I would have either booked profits today or transformed it. But yeah, I mean, if you're okay with the risk of leaving the one DTE, that's up to you. You better go into it with the idea that whatever the max risk on that, you're willing to take. Yeah, exactly, Leo. Okay, so let's take a look at PLTR. As I mentioned, it's just a skosh under all-time highs. Hit an all-time high of 125.41. Hit a high today of 125.26. Wow, look at that. Look at the implied volatility. Usually you have this implied volatility up or increasing going into earnings, and because premiums were so juiced after the tariff volatility, IV has been contracting going into earnings here. So PLTR has an expected move of 16, currently trading at 124, so call it 140 to the upside. So something like that would give you no risk, but really no profit to the upside if it really blows out to the upside. $140 is basically the expected move area. I think I will give myself a little more profit to the upside. Try to get filled at 115. Let that sit for a minute. That's the 132, 140, 146 strikes. Get a little bounce in the S&P and NASDAQ. Let's go ahead and get filled on this. Get it out of my way. Filled at $1.19. I just posted that in the Zero DTE Trades channel if anyone needs to reference it. But and if you're new, basically all I'm doing is I'm picking a direction, in this case, bullish on PLTR, and I'm putting the peak of that broken wing fly right around the expected move with no risk in the direction that I'm favoring. So to the upside, no risk. So if price stays right where it is or goes down, that's where my risk is. Yeah, Damien, just posted in the Zero DTE Trades channel. Goldman did not bounce much with the S&P and NASDAQ bouncing, so that's a good sign. I'm still holding puts. I think I may just close them out, though. I'll give it a little bit. We got 20 minutes till the bell. Bank of America is still coming down. It's been the strongest of the three big boys. Could definitely see some chop here the next couple days. Don't forget we've got FOMC on Wednesday. Tomorrow, really nothing. There's a 10-year bond auction, but it's labeled as low impact. And then Wednesday, FOMC. Thursday, unemployment claims pre-market. And then Friday, a boatload of Fed speakers giving their opinion that doesn't matter. So I would think tomorrow may be another good day to sell premium. There's always the wild card, though. Always the wild card. Django, I don't do options on MOC. If you're talking about the little MOC mini course that I did, I just straight bought futures. That's the cleanest, easier way to do it. But if you were going to play it directionally with options, yeah, you could buy calls to go long, buy puts to go short. And I've done that. It's just easier to trade futures if you have access to futures. Because it's such a quick deal. Bank of America is starting to really come down. Goldman's not really moving anymore. Bank of America back below Friday's high. MSTR had a big rally off the bottom, kind of mirroring Bitcoin. NVIDIA tried to go green again, but it's getting pushed back down. Microsoft tried to get up to, here's another day trade that I took. Microsoft tried 3 times to push up above Friday's high. The S&P and NASDAQ started looking like they were getting a little bit weak at the top, so I got short Microsoft here and caught a little move lower. Everything catching a little pullback. S&P dropping back below the pre-market highs. NASDAQ right there as well. Yeah, sure can. Abash. I was just watching the price action really closely as it related to the S&P and the NASDAQ, mostly the NASDAQ. And what I was looking at is, I talk a lot about relative strength. And what was going on is the S&P and NASDAQ were still racing higher, and Microsoft no longer was, right? Microsoft was one of the strongest stocks early. So in that period of time, for about 30 to 45 minutes before I entered, Microsoft started acting weaker, where the NASDAQ and the S&P kept going up. Microsoft could not push up to new highs anymore. And so that's where I got short, and I had a very tight leash on it. So if it would have started getting strong again, I would have just cut it for a small loss. But instead, it rolled over for me. So it's kind of a relative strength play based on that time period. And I like when the other one I was looking at the same time was Google. Both of them had pushed up above Friday's high, and a lot of times you'll see a stock sweep the previous day's high, and then if it rolls over pretty quickly, it's kind of a stop hunt type situation. So that's the other thing that I was kind of considering with this. It swept Friday's high, and then all of a sudden was acting weaker than the indices. Yeah, it was kind of a fake out. Exactly. That's how I was looking at it. And it's such a good risk reward, because if it pushes up, I just get out for a small loss instead. That was my biggest winner, I think, today. Second biggest. I booked a little over 2,100. If I would have taken a loss, it would have been, I don't know, depending on how I got out, it could have been a $500 loss maybe a little bit more. All right, Goldman Sachs paying me a little bit more. A few minutes to MOC. I'm going to go ahead and close out the rest of that. All right, so final tally on my day trades, a little over 3,800. I just posted. Watson, what was your question on the Goldman one? I see your screenshot, but what was your reference there? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I always look at the daily chart as well. Yeah, it looked like it kind of pushed up against Friday's range and started to retract. So, yeah, I was looking at that as well. All right, I got to get my financial juice ready for the MOC. It's coming. It's coming. MOC incoming.
Market on close imbalance S&P 500 to the buy side 640 million, Nasdaq 100 buy side 221 million, Dow 30 buy side 200 million.
So pretty small. Yeah, everything's kind of coming down here into the close. Really for the last hour plus. Bitcoin now rolling over a little bit as well. Yeah, basically everything's coming down. S&P, NASDAQ back into pre-market range. Well, I did good by not trying to play catch-up and enter any delta neutral and power hour. That doesn't look like it would have worked out too well. Yeah, 1 DTE would be, I transformed mine, but if I didn't, it would be, yeah, pretty centered. Up about, yeah, I probably would have hit 45% profit target. No, it's not quite there. It's at about 35 though. Get a little dirty into the close here. Little dirty, little down and dirty. I mean, the indices just, all of them went up to either right at unchanged or just below or just above and then rolled over.
Order filled.
Order partially filled. Order filled.
Oh, come on. I just got hit on one of my put sides of my BICs for a double stop. Still green for the day, but that wasn't very nice. Let's see if I have any others in danger. 56.50 would be my next one. So yeah, we need to stay right here. I still have a shot at 2 pins if we don't go much below 56.50. I haven't even looked at my homes. Let me pull that up. $56.50 fly. Oh yeah, it's there. It's there. Let's see if I can get this in. Trying to get filled on the 56.50 fly. filled at 210. So now I need to move away from 56.50. Bring this up. We're currently right at 56.50. Oh, nice, Jonathan. Yeah, I thought I was going to get filled at a better price, actually, but I just put it in at $2 and I got price improved to 210. Come on, don't stop moving now. Got 3.5 minutes to make a 5-point move. By the way, who was that was asking about Mahomes earlier? Trader Dan. So you'll notice I'm not using dollar debits on the verticals. I'm using $4 credits. It's the exact same thing. So I thought at one point maybe that credit spreads were filling quicker than debits, and I tested a bunch, and it's just pretty random. So don't get confused by that. You can use $4 credits or $1 debits. 2.5 minutes. PLTR is trying to bounce into the close a little bit. So you see SPX is at 56.52. If it can get up to 55, it should lock in that vertical. And so if you're doing a credit spread, you would move it obviously from $4 to $3.50 would be the equivalent of what you were talking about to get filled quicker. But I just let it go. I look for that. I'm looking for dollar profit. So if you don't get locked, as long as it moves 3 points or more away from your strike, you'll right at 3 points. That's right at about break even. If it expires just on the butterfly, so I need above 53 or below 47, and it's just hanging out right at 50-51 right now. Yep, SPX is frozen. My chart, my screen's okay. It's just SPX. It needs to move. 30 seconds. Down to 49. Come on, SPX. Give me a little something. Get away from 50. Give me a 47.
Order cancelled.
Nope. Not a good close
Order
for
cancelled.
Mahomes. Yeah, not a good close. 56.50.62. 56.50.6. Jumping around a little bit. 56.50.61 looks like close to the final. All right, all. That is a wrap for today. As far as day trading goes, tomorrow is the 6th, so it'll be Chad streaming live at the open, and then we will be back for Power Hour. All right, all. Take care. Hopefully we get a little bump in PLTR for earnings. Cheers. Talk to you soon.